So we've gone through about 6 game weeks of Darkest Dungeon. We've defeated the first boss. I wouldn't really call it a boss, but slightly harder than your average monster.
More health points, basically.
More health points.
Yeah.
In the game's defense, it was an apprentice necromancer.
Right.
It wasn't a boss.
Right.
It was
He's-
the boss's apprentice.
He's in training.
Right.
What'd you think of it?
I'm definitely going to beat it. I'm very interested. I'm also, because it's an alpha, I'm interested if there's very much more they're going to add. Right now, it feels like a pretty much completed game. Like, they could have released this and not said it was a early access, and I would have said it's a good game.
Right.
Yeah, but if you call it an alpha, even if it was your final polished product, you have your ability
Buffer,
to backtrack
right, yeah.
without raising your stress
Yeah,
levels.
just keep going. But it's an alpha. So, yeah.
Exactly.
That's true. I mean,
We
we
worked for
didn't,
Minecraft.
right, we didn't run into any game-ending bugs or anything like that. The gameplay's solid. The visuals are solid. I feel like it's, worth, I think it's a $20 game. I say it's definitely worth that much.
So it costs $20.
Yeah, it's not a $60 release. It's like a $20 game.
Mm-hmm. Is there any? Is there a level cap right now, or is there?
From what I understand, the last 2 areas or bosses aren't available, as far as that compared to the end game.
So we aren't actually at the end game yet,
Right,
but this is alpha. So
right. And the way this is set up is interesting. They can just add new chapters, and since none of the characters have a story, they can just add
right.
another set of dungeons. And
Yeah, I didn't see a lava world there, and I
right.
and I didn't also see snow either. So.
Right. So they have the opportunity to add expansions without having to explain anything. They can just say, here's some more.
Right. You found a secret room, a labyrinth under the hill.
Right.
New
So
area.
yeah, I think they are definitely they've made old school. This is a very old school feeling game with some modern. I don't know anything's modern other than maybe the art and storytelling is a little bit different.
Storytelling.
Yeah.
The narrator was awesome.
The
Yeah.
narrator is
You have a narrator, which is something that you wouldn't see,
right.
15 years ago probably.
And he definitely seems to affect how I feel. Like when he says, you're close to death or whatever. Like whenever you get a critical blow, it definitely adds. Like I said, everything they've done this game doesn't have everything you might see in a full-fleshed Final Fantasy game, but everything that they did put in the game, they did right.
I think Final Fantasy at this point is an unfair comparison when you're talking kick-ass RPGs.
Right.
That franchise seems to have run its course.
Yeah, that's true. I guess, but either way, everything that's in the game is done perfectly. I think that they're really onto something. I hope that this is a continuing series, like maybe not Darkest Dungeon 2, but like the same gameplay style applied to a different story. Is like I can continue to follow this series after I beat this.
Right.
Maybe not so dark dungeon.
Right.
You could see this maybe set in a modern time.
Yeah, or
for example.
Yeah, moderns, future sci-fi. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just walking down hallways, right? So you can just they could reskin it, and that would be all they did, and I'd probably play that too. So
Would you give him $20
Yeah.
for a reskinned version?
I would absolutely. I'd probably play $60 for this game with a little bit more, just a little bit more. So 20 is definitely a bargain.
I suppose. My impression of it, it's once again, it's not going to cause me to upgrade my hardware to a gaming PC. It has so much. Like, it doesn't feel like you can be good at this game and dominate it because you're so awesome at it. It seems to me like,
A lot of it is roll of dice.
yeah, if you started a new game right now and you played through that first, 6 weeks of the game and you got to that first boss, you might not be able to beat him this time. Or maybe you can, and it all is just this false sense of peril.
Right. Well, I mean, I've completely, like previous attempts, I have lost my whole party. Like we managed to get through pretty easily. But they did remove grinding, so you don't have to continue to go back to levels to grind.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not spending 5 hours just walking around in a circle on your chocobo type thing.
That's
So
always a good thing.
so they
I
have
don't know. It looks like, in a way, it's going to force you to grind at some point, where you're going to have to upgrade those facilities. The problem is, it seems to have devalued grinding in a whole lot of other ways. So you're going to wind up having to grind, and there's not going to be a real payoff feeling for it.
I feel like the more likely is that you won't be able to upgrade all your facilities. Like you won't be able to do enough quests to make everything maxed out. So you're just going to have to pick and choose what you do and what you don't do.
Oh no! Don't put a game in front of me that I can't complete.
Right.
That's
So the
cold-blooded.
grinders and completionists, this might not be their game if they want to have everything maxed out to the max. But I mean, just like the Stagecoach, there's no reason to max that out if you have all the characters you want. Like, there's no real reason. Like you said, if you get 12 characters, then you can have 3 teams rotating in and out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
How important is story to a game? I mean,
Ooh.
here we are with a game with no story. This
Right.
isn't exactly a phone game,
right.
or a flash game.
This is an interesting debate because there is no story. There is no someone telling you, like, oh my gosh, we need to go here and save the princess. But the story's being told with the visuals, like the places in ruins, and like they give the beginning, they explain pretty much everything you need to know. But the story is told when the highwayman has a gambling addiction. You can apply a story to that. So the argument is there no story being told, or are they just having you make a lot of assumptions?
No, I think it's okay for it to just be fun to play. I think inherently in a game, right, if you give it a story, you take out the element of choice for the player. If you give the player a dazzling array of choices, you're going to have to sacrifice some story. So.
Right. And with having none of the characters actually be a key figure, you get plenty of options. You could do whatever you want with the characters. So I guess there is no real story. You're just completing a dungeon, but I think it's not to the point that you feel like you're just randomly pushing buttons. Like there's a reason that you continue on forward, and like there's the necromancer you have to kill and things like that.
Yeah, and at risk of being culturally biased, I think we can all agree that necromancers are bad. So,
Right.
like if there's a necromancer, it must be killed.
Someone has to go do it. We'll only send 4 people to do it.
Yeah,
Can't send 8.
4
But
of the 13 because 8 of them are drinking.
right. Are getting whipped in the church.
There you go, flogging themselves.
So this game is doing very well currently on Steam.
Right. It's been the second highest selling alpha release or pre-launch release game. It was ahead of H1Z1 for a couple days, and then it's back below it. But it's definitely doing well, which is surprising for the type of game. And I see a lot of people reporting on it as well, which is refreshing because this is supposed to be a dead genre.
What's the
people reporting it?
So, what does this game do right? It's a dead genre, so something somewhere went wrong.
It let Kickstarter contributors pay their money for an unseen product and get something that, I mean, that game is at least worth paying money for. So it did that much. It brought an awesome art style.
Yeah, they did deliver on a Kickstarter promise. So.
Yeah.
It's not that it did. The reason that the turn-based RPG is dead is slightly because the gaming companies assumed it was dead. Like Square Enix released a apology about how all their Final Fantasy games have gotten away from the original turn-based RPG, and then because of their 2 Brave Story games that released on 3DS that sold so well, they apologized and said we're going to go back to our old school ways. So I think, while the audience did wane off a little bit,
it's set for a comeback.
Yeah, companies jumped ship too early, I think.
Right.
It could have been exhausted, but I don't think it ever was exhausted. I think people were still playing the game, but all the companies assumed that people were too dumb to play RPGs anymore. Like Final Fantasy 13 is just...
Oh, that game's a mess.
Yeah, like you're not really playing a game. You're just walking forward and smashing buttons. It's not a strategy game at all.
And it seems like there's an obligation felt to make more graphics, more 3D, more open world. And here's a developer that does the opposite.
Right, like everything's homogenizing, and whoever these guys are, you can tell that they had a passion for old school RPGs back in the day. And
an awesome art team. Like
yeah. I mean, the visuals are perfect. Like the Pimp Cup skeleton, like that's someone's idea, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
They did everything right. Like they didn't like I said, they did everything right. Everything that's in the game is done correctly, and it's a very refreshing. And it's the most casual gameplay. You can play the whole game with a mouse, so that's kind of cool.
And that's awesome. You can play that game one-handed while you appreciate the art style. So it has a casual feel, like you said, but it looks like there's a lot of depth available to it as well.
Would you pay $10 if this was a phone app? If it gave you everything that's available, and pay a $10 phone app for this?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, me personally, I don't think I would ever play on my phone for long enough.
Yeah.
To experience this game. I would get to a point where I don't want to look at my tiny screen anymore. I'd just rather it be on a computer.
Yeah. And I think I average around 30 apps on my phone at any given time, and I think I've paid for about 4. So
Right. Because it's such a casual game, I'm wondering if it's lined up to be a phone app or if it's
But is it really this is my point. Is it really casual?
the
How casual can you be?
I guess
with
when I
this
say
game?
casual, I mean how much physical interaction you have. Like I played the whole game with my right index finger and moving my wrist around with the mouse.
Right. It's certainly set for an easy port.
no, you can
tablet.
also see the depth of the game increase, because by the end, once you've completed the first boss, you did also have to press the shift key. So,
Oh, right, to
yeah.
delete the items. Right.
Good
So
point.
yeah, I would have had to lean up in my chair to reach the shift key rather than be my normal pose. So yeah, I guess. No, I think the game's excellent. I think that I'm hoping that this is the beginning of the return to turn-based RPGs, because those are my favorite genre. Persona 5's coming out, by the way. We should talk about that at some point.
Mhm. You don't have any criticisms?
I guess criticisms would be
Because the only thing I could think of is just more features, but it's an
Right.
alpha. So
right. There's plenty of depth in all the mechanics, but there's a lack of depth when it comes to customizations. As far as when we upgraded the character, it would have been nice to see
to see that on screen.
right the gun got bigger or
Right.
changed shape, or oh no, this is the type of game where it'd be interesting if you had, because there's a person that's supposed to be following you around, right? Because he's talking to you.
Mhm.
And then this is your group of minions. It'd be interesting if they would have made it so you had a hero character and then 4 alternates, and the hero character couldn't be killed, just knocked out, so you could actually develop a hero character. I mean, that's not a criticism. That's just, if I was going to change something, maybe that would be interesting.
Yeah, I think the only real gripe I have is that it looks like you can't get good at it. It looks like you will randomly win or lose. My only complaint, though.
That seems to be the case.
Yeah, you could play this game without looking at the stats and probably beat it. So while there is a lot of depth, it doesn't force you into the depth, which is also a positive for people who don't want a lot of depth. So it's
Right.
which side of the aisle are you on depth of game, I guess.
Speaking of old school RPGs, a large part of them is saving and reloading. And here we have a game that autosaves at every step of the way.
I think that might be.
It certainly adds a level of finality to all of your decisions.
Yes, it's the if it doesn't have a feeling that you can have an element of skill to it, at least there's a very real sense of high stakes. Where if you lose this character, you lose this character. It does offer that.
For my RTSs like Fire Emblem, I played the games that way anyway. So if someone died, I don't bring them back. So being forced to do it is a little different, because there's always that one time that your favorite character dies, and you're like, just this one time, I guess I'll go back. And then
Right.
this one, there's when the highwayman that we liked, whatever his name was, Desai or whatever, when he almost died, I was in high stress because he's a boss, and I felt like I failed him by letting him die. So that does increase my stress level. I had a little black icon pop over my head,
Would you say it increases your enjoyment of the game as well?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you get some adrenaline from a turn-based game, that's a good sign. So I would say good game with high replay value, because every time you get a different group of people, and you could choose to have it specifically, I'm going to go with this group. So it's a good game with high replay value, absolutely worth the money.